This morning, the first Indigenous woman launched into space. Answer questions from all over Indian country. Hear from Nicole Mann about her biggest motivators and inspirations. Plus, the Department of Justice files a lawsuit against the South Dakota hotel. Why the DOJ is alleging the hotel violated the civil rights of Native Americans. And specialists in South Dakota began the search for grave sites at the former Indian boarding school. All that and more straight ahead here on Good Morning Indian Country. Welcome to Good Morning Indian Country. I'm Alyssa Noriega. So glad you can join us this morning. We have lots of great things in store for you this Wednesday, October 26th, as we highlight news and information from all across Indian Country. This project is supported in part by the National Endowment for the Arts, and also thank you to our other sponsors, the Lawrence Arts Center and the University of Kansas William Allen White School of Journalism and Mass Communications. In a special interview with the Associated Press, Nicole Mann answered questions from all over Indian Country. Mann is the first Indigenous woman to be launched into space. The interview was live streamed from the International Space Station. One thing that made this trip to space with her was a dream catcher.
I think the biggest thing that inspired me and helped me in my career to become an astronaut is the importance of family and community. I have a very large extended family that's still
Anything from her culture inspired her career. She said her family was her biggest motivator.
I've received lots of blessings and prayers from my family and lots of strength. The only personal thing that I brought along those lines is a dream catcher from my mother, and that's something that I've always held dear as a child. I knew it helped me through some tough times as a child when I would have a hard time going back to sleep. And so I think that the strength I find in that is a gift from my mother. It's the strength to know that I have the support of my family and community back home, and that when things are difficult or things are getting hard or I'm getting burnt out or frustrated, that strength is something that I will draw on to continue towards a successful mission.
Mann launched into space earlier this month. She is the mission commander of NASA's SpaceX Crew 5 mission. The Department of Justice filed a lawsuit against Grand Getaway Hotel. Last Thursday, the U.S. Department of Justice filed a lawsuit against the Grand Getaway Hotel in Rapid City, alleging the civil rights of Native Americans were violated. The DOJ alleges that the Grand Getaway Hotel and Cheer Sports Lounge and Casino discriminated against Native American customers. Back in March, Grand Getaway Hotel owner Connie Uhair commented on social media saying the hotel was not allowing Native Americans on the property after a shooting that left a 19-year-old Oglala Lakota citizen dead. Title II of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibits discrimination based on race, color, religion, or national origin in places of public accommodation, such as hotels and other places of entertainment. The 2022 White House Tribal Nations Summit is set. It'll happen from November 30th through December 1st. This announcement came from the White House last Friday. The scheduled summit is the second White House Tribal Nations Summit hosted by Biden administration. During his 2020 presidential campaign, Biden promised to continue the White House Tribal Nations conferences that were held for 8 years during the Obama administration. The summit will feature panel discussions and listening sessions with high-level administration on tribal priorities. Building on the 2021 White House Tribal Nations Summit, this year's summit will be an opportunity for tribal leaders to engage directly with senior administration officials on key priorities, new policies, and other important issues facing Indigenous communities. Four Directions hosted a midterm election forum in Wisconsin this past Monday. Four Directions, the National Congress of American Indians, and Wisconsin tribes hosted the forum in Madison, Wisconsin, the state's capital city, on Monday and Tuesday. The forum was held in town hall format at the Orpheum Theater in downtown Madison. The town hall provided an opportunity for local and state candidates to engage with the issues most important to Native Americans in Wisconsin and across Indian country. Wisconsin Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes, the Democratic Party's nominee for the U.S. Senate seat, participated in a panel on Monday. Levi Rickard, Native News Online's publisher and editor, was also a part of the same panel. The University of North Dakota President Andrew Armacost announces that it has at least one Native American ancestor that was used for research in its School of Medicine and Health Sciences. The university's update comes after their initial finding occurred in March. This is when faculty and staff found the human remains and culture objects boxed in the basement of an anthropology building. It is currently not in use while searching for a missing sacred item on campus. The discovery has also led the university to reflect on the respectful handling of non-Indigenous human remains. The UND formed NAGPRA Compliance Committee will host monthly meetings to update faculty, staff, students, and the public on the repatriation process moving forward. A team of specialists hired by a former Indian boarding school on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation began excavating a basement on its campus today. This is following eyewitness testimonies from a former student who claimed there are potential grave sites at the Red Cloud Indian School. Red Cloud Indian School, formerly known as Holy Rosary Mission, was founded in 1888 by the Catholic Church. It operated with support from the federal government through 1980. In 1980, the school transitioned to a day school. Today, the private Catholic school serves about 600 Native American students from kindergarten through high school. The school has began gathering testimony from former students and hired a full-time archival researcher to examine school archives kept by Marquette University. The school has also commissioned a specialist to conduct a geophysical survey of its campus to search for unmarked graves. 3 suspects were arrested on Colville Indian Reservation in Washington last Friday after 2 people were killed. The shooting happened on Thursday in Keller District. Tribal officers arrived at the scene when 2 people were already deceased. One officer followed a vehicle after seeing it leave the scene. During this time, the officer was shot in the arm. The officer sustained non-life-threatening injuries. 2 of the suspects have been identified as Curry Pickham and Zachary Holt. The 3rd suspect hasn't been identified. The investigation is still ongoing. Let's take a look at your weather forecast, Indian Country. Starting with Cherokee, North Carolina, your temperature today is 65 degrees and a low of 39. Over to the West Coast, Fort Hall, Idaho, your weather forecast is a high of 41 and a low of 17. Moving lower to the south, Taos, New Mexico. Expect 55-degree weather today, and your low temp is a 27-degree forecast. Oneida, Wisconsin, your weather temperature is looking to be a high of 56 with a low of 34. And here at the Good Morning Indian Country Studios in Lawrence, Kansas, it is going to be a high of 66, and we will expect a low of 42. Remember to enjoy your forecast today. After the break, Zachariah Harjo joins us live in the studio. He'll tell us more about economic development in Indian Country and the impacts of certain case. Stick with us. Is almost coming to an end this morning. But first, we have your weekly rundown of things going all around Indian Country. There are tons of things going down in Indian Country. The 23rd Imagine Native Film and Media Festival is happening all this week. It's celebrating Indigenous storytelling in film, video, audio, and digital art. Screenings, exhibitions, and special events are all happening. This year's programs will have films that explore the Indigenous experience. Some of the genres including family-friendly drama and documentary. Online streaming started on Monday and will go through Sunday. For more on the festival and tons of other events, be sure to check out nativenewsonline.net. New York Times bestselling author Angeline Boulley talks about her upcoming novel Warrior Girl Unearthed. She is of Salt Murray tribe of Chippewa Indians. Boulley talked about the importance of Native representation in literature. Less than 1% of all books published in the U.S. feature a Native American main character. Her new book, which is set to publish in March of next year, features an Indigenous main character. Boulley says representation matters in books, especially in young adult books. Okay, so I hope you guys have noticed my shirt. This is the week of Halloween, so I'm going to step back a little bit. So the reason why I decided to wear this shirt this week is because I just want to give a little reminder for our viewers that might think it's okay to wear princess Native American costumes or Pocahontas costumes or anybody that, any culture of ethnic costumes this Halloween, I just want to give a nice reminder that please do not do that. My culture is not your costume. And I want to give a little reminder that, be safe this weekend, dress appropriately for weather, and, just be safe this weekend. So I'd like to give another shout out to, kind of like leave the show on a good note. I want to say hello to my mom and my dad and my grandma, who also watched this show. And I like to give a nice thank you to my KU team here. They always take care of me with my parking, my coffee. And I want to give a nice little shout out for our mugs here that you're going to be able to buy soon, hopefully. We're working on a website to showcase some buttons and some mugs. So thanks for sticking with us this morning at Good Morning Indian Country. This project is supported in part by the National Endowment for the Arts. And don't forget to follow us on social media. We'll see you right back here next Wednesday.